All right, it is 7:01. I think we can go ahead and get started. I want to introduce our host. So please, join me in welcoming Gary Gray. Gary is an award-winning #1 Billboard charting A-list composer, songwriter, producer, engineer, a voting member of the Grammy Recording Academy, author of the Home Studio Bible, and creator of the revolutionary Mute Automation Checkerboard AB workflow system for mixing and mastering. Gary's had many licensing placements that he personally recorded, mixed, and mastered over the years, including an Amazon Super Bowl commercial and more than 20 tracks recorded, mixed, and mastered for the major motion picture The Little Mermaid, released by Disney. And most recently, of course, Gary has developed and introduced You Score the Scene to the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Gary Gray. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you very much, Kelly. And first of all, I want to actually thank Kelly. He's the perfect definition of the right-hand man. Kelly is an award-winning CIO, which is a Chief Information Officer, and he's like the man behind the scenes. He does all the webinar stuff. And on top of it, his artist name is Kay Walsh, and he's quite a singer-songwriter. So let's give it up for Mr. Kelly Walsh. Thank you,
Thank
Kelly.
you so much, Gary.
So the first thing I want to tell everyone is this. We did a launch webinar in May, on May 7th, for You Score the Scene. And that was after 2 years of beta testing this idea that I came up with one day after doing like 2 years of research on music licensing. And since that May 7th launch, some amazing things have happened with You Score the Scene. It's actually spreading kind of like hotcakes, as they say. And we've had quite a few submissions. In fact, you're going to hear today during the webinar from one of the people who submitted, Sally from the UK, who did a submission, and we're going to actually go over her submission, which is pretty exciting. You're also going to meet a new filmmaker today, which is J.D. Hawk from the East Coast. And you'll be, if you were here at the first webinar, you'll be seeing again award-winning filmmaker Alessandro Andriuli. And by the way, J.D. Hawk is an 11-time award-winning independent filmmaker. So these guys are very, very excellent at their craft. And you'll be, learning all about the details of what You Score the Scene is. And some of you already know, and some of you are here for the new briefs. We have 3 new briefs. So this is pretty exciting. Now, there's one big difference. I just want to start out by saying something. There's one big difference between this webinar and the original webinar on May 7th. I've been doing webinars for a number of years now. I've probably done, 25 or 30 in my time. And during that time period, almost all of them have been scripted. And many webinars that you attend and that I attend, they're scripted. Today's webinar is not scripted. And one of the things when I was watching, have you ever done anything, online in front of a camera and then you watch the replay afterwards? I'm sure you have, and you've watched yourself. So the one thing that I didn't like, the only thing I didn't like about the webinar, because it was very successful, but personally was, do you ever watch a webinar where you see the person's eyes, like as they're looking at the camera and their eyes are going like this? And they're reading a script. And they even have AI programs. And I tried one, by the way. I did a social media post from the webinar in May, and I posted it on social media. And I used this AI thing, which it takes your eyes, you put it in the AI thing, and it makes the eyes look right at the camera, even if you weren't. And I tried it, and it kind of worked. And, some little sections it worked, and other ones I looked like a robot or an alien or something. But what I want to do here is today I decided to go without a script. And there's 2 reasons. Number one is I don't like the little eye thing going back and forth. It would bug me, so I don't want that to bug you. Number 2 is this is a subject that I know, I have passion about it, and I'm confident to tell you every detail there is to know about it quickly without having to get through a long script. So we're just going to get right into it. How does that sound? I'm going to start out this webinar with an excerpt from a podcast. And here's what's been happening. The word about You Score the Scene has been spreading, as I said, so much so that I got a call from an icon in the music industry who's a hero of mine. And many of you know who this is. His name is Bobby Owsinski. Have you heard of Bobby Owsinski? For those of you who have heard of him, give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat. So Bobby Owsinski is an award-winning, best-selling author. He's one of the top music producers in the world. He's also an expert on immersive audio, like surround, all the surround systems, Atmos, etc. And he called me sometime around our launch and said, "Hey, Gary, have I ever had you on my podcast?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Let's get you on." So I had the privilege and the honor of actually being a guest on the Bobby Ozinski Inner Circle podcast. And one of the things Bobby was very interested in was you score the scene. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to watch just a small portion of that podcast where he asks me about you score the scene, because I think it's a good, quick summary of what you score the scene is. And you can also see Bobby's reaction to it, which I want to share with you. How does that sound? Okay, good. Here we go.
Tell me about You Score the Scene.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
So I'm a researcher at heart. I do a lot of research, and I've done in very different, different varied fields, but mostly in music. And I use the scientific method, and I love researching. So I got more and more involved in music licensing. Some things about it were confusing to me all the time. Like the more I learned, and I thought there's something wrong with me, because a lot of subjects, the more I learn, the more I feel I know. Somehow with music licensing, like the more I studied it, the more confused I got in a certain way. And I said, there must be something I don't understand here. So I go, I'm just going to research it, and then maybe that'll help me. After researching it for about 8 months, I came up with some findings based on the scientific method, because I wanted to know about the whole assembly line of music licensing. And one of the things that came up, and I said, I can't release these findings, because what I found was it all came down to one word. And I said, well, this is not very complimentary. I don't know how people are going to react to this. But I found that music licensing came down to one word, which was ridiculous. There were just a lot of things about it that seemed ridiculous. Not the people, great people. I'm not talking about that. Just like somehow, and then I learned that the way it grew was it grew without a unifying body that was putting standards in. So it grew in branches all over the place. Even to the point where, like if I get a licensing gig right now, like I get something licensed in film, this company over there, they're going to ask me for 4824 files, and they're going to ask me for stem files. And if I have orchestration, they're going to want the strings, high strings separated from the cellos and the basses and the different sections of the orchestra. Whereas this company asked me for a 44124 file, and they say they just want the top end of the orchestra and the bottom end. That's the stem they want. Like no standards. So I can't stockpile my stems even to prepare them for a bunch of companies, because not everybody asks for the same thing. Like that's one example. But with the You Score the Scene, what I found was that people get briefs, and they get a written brief, and then they get the brief as a composer or a songwriter, and they go, okay, we want a heavy metal song with a female vocalist and an accordion on it. Okay, so they go in their studio and they do a heavy metal song with a female vocal and an accordion on it, and they send it in. And then there's hundreds or sometimes thousands of other people sending in on that brief. And so now the music supervisor or whoever it is that's accepting all those listens through all that stuff, and they come up with a short list. And on that short list, they bring that over to the director, let's say, of the film, and the music editor. And they go, for that scene, here's our short list. And the director and or the music editor will listen to it. And no one along that whole way has seen the scene, except the director knows it in his head because he made it. But even he or she, when she watches when she gets the music, the director doesn't necessarily watch that music with the scene. They just listen to the music. And then they decide, oh, okay, I think this one's going to be good. And so they put it into the editor's hopper. And I had a chance to sit with the NCIS team that put together that TV show, and the editor allowed me to stay there for 10 hours because he said, the director's not here today. You can stay right next to me and you can ask me anything you want. And I was like, oh my God, it was like a master's, in licensing. So I watched him do his job. And after that, I really got a chance to see what I describe as the 7 most famous words in music licensing, which is, we decided to go in another direction. And this was at the core and the heart of this thing that's kind of shakes out to be ridiculous. So I thought, how about if we did this? How about if we could get filmmakers, instead of giving people a written brief, to give the scene to the composer? And then the composer could literally have the scene in their DAW and compose to that scene, to picture, and submit not just their music, submit their music with that scene. And then when the director gets it, they're not going to just listen to the music. They're going to see the music with the scene. And they're going to go, oh, interesting. And so what I did was I hooked up with the Connecticut Film and TV Alliance. And this guy that I met when I was out there in New York, his name is Ed Cohen, and he's one of the co-founders of this alliance. And they have 700 plus members, filmmakers, TV professionals, very good organization. And I got a bunch of the filmmakers briefed on this thing. And I said, are you interested? And I was like, I got a resounding yes. And I was beta testing the idea using the scientific method. And I got so much interest, Bobby, from these filmmakers. I said, okay, maybe this could work. What I found was that the high-end filmmakers, it's not workable for right now. It's not workable for like a major motion picture because they have distribution deals and there's certain things they can't do. They have their hands tied with a scene. However, there's lots of independent filmmakers out there, lots. And this works perfectly for them. They love it. They said, yeah, we're going to do it. So if you go to teammusiclicensing.com and then you just click on You Score the Scene, there's a whole explanation. And there's actually some briefs up there where people can get the scenes, put them in their DAW, score to it, and then send it in. So that's what You Score the Scene is.
That makes so much sense, though. Actually scoring to the scene, seeing what it is, because otherwise you're kind of shooting in the dark.
Totally. So that was a great opportunity for me to be able to spend time with Bobby Ozinski on the You Score the Scene and cover that. It was a very long, podcast, but that was a key portion of it that he wanted to make sure and ask me about. How did it? Could you guys see that and hear that? And what did you think about it? Give me a thumbs up. Just want to see how you're all doing here so far on the webinar. And do you know Bobby Ozinski? Got a thumbs up there from LF. Okay. Good. Was the sound okay? Could you hear it? Says great. Jersey said great. Crystal, great. Okay, good. Good. Excellent. So this has been ever since that podcast, because he has quite a machine on social media and he's sent out all kinds of stuff. And he made, how you can chop up a podcast into small bites and you can get that out on social media. He's done that incredibly. I'm so grateful to Bobby for helping us get the word out. So I wanted to share that with you so you have the basic fundamental backbone philosophy of what You Score the Scene is all about. It was just an idea I had after doing research, and I just kept testing it and tweaking it and testing it, and I'm learning so much from this. It's amazing. Now, you notice that I mentioned Ed Cohen. Well, Ed Cohen happens to be here right now. There he is. So everybody, let's give it up for Mr. Ed Cohen. He's very, very important and key to the success of You Score the Scene. So give him some love in the chat. Say hi, Ed. Tell him you love him.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're getting lots of comments there. Some people there know you as well. So, Ed, I'd like you to say a few words about the philosophy of, because we're going to now get into the actual briefs. Introduce a friend of yours that you introduced to me, who's J.D. Hawk. You also introduced to me to Alessandro and a number of filmmakers. Two of them are going to be on the webinar today. Right after I talk to you, we're going to be talking to J.D. Hawk. And I wanted you to say a few words about the philosophy that you learned on what composers should keep in mind when they're dealing with filmmakers. Now, Ed is completely steeped in the film industry. Here's an expert in the film industry that wears all kinds of hats, including actor, by the way. So let's turn it over to Ed Cohen for a moment.
But there's one core belief, and that I learned from the composer that I managed, Master Carlo. The only purpose of a composer in film is to enhance the vision of the director. Everything else is noise. That is it in a nutshell. Your only focus is on the director's vision. It's his film. His name is on the film. His heart is in the film, and it's got to be cohesive.
Excellent. Words of wisdom. And Ed, tell us a little bit about the person that you manage, who you learned a lot of this from by managing him. And who was his mentor, by the way?
All right, Max DiCarlo is an Italian composer born and raised in Rome, attended Santa Cecilia Conservatory of Music that was founded in 1585. He attended for 10 years. He came out composer, conductor, arranger, producer, multi-instrumentalist, and I mean every instrument in the orchestra, track engineer, mix engineer, and mastering engineer. Other than that, no skills. He was then honored to sit at the right hand of Ennio Morricone. He did all the spaghetti westerns for a few dollars more, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, etc. Totally the father of modern film music. He has finished 67 films so far.
You know, I have a Saturday mastermind for those of you who don't know it. Ed's there at almost every one. I don't know how you do it, Ed, with your schedule. And he actually invited Max to one of our masterminds, and we've got that as one of our replays. But Ed, I want you to repeat what you said because it's worth repeating on what a composer needs to know and how, because we talk about character. So my company is
Yep.
Team, you know, Transcend Entertainment and Music, Team, Team. And at
Yep.
Team, the number one first and primary focus is on character. Because if you have good character, you're more than likely to get chosen for a job. You could be the most talented guy in the room or girl, and that's not going to, it might get you your foot in the door, but that door might close once your foot's in it, you know, if your character is not good. So anyway, Ed, I want you to say again, and maybe expound on it a little bit, what the most important thing for these composers to know is when they're working with filmmakers.
Well, again, your only purpose is to enhance the vision of the director.
No, but that's awesome, Ed. Let's give it up for Mr. Ed Cohen, everybody. Give him some more love in the chat so he knows you're there and you appreciate him.
By the way,
Thank you, Ed.
the Alliance is now up over 900 members.
900.
Wow.
Yes.
Whoa. That's awesome. That's incredible. In a moment, I'm going to introduce everyone to J.D. Hawk, an independent filmmaker, 11-time award winning. And I'm meeting him with you, just so you know. Ed is such a networker. Like I have a motto, a personal motto, which is I'm either networking or not working. And the only other person I know that can beat me out at that is Ed Cohen. I mean, you should see my text, 2, 3, 4 a day. And most of them are forwarding contacts to me. Gary, contact this person. Here's another filmmaker. Here, this person would be great for the mastermind. So I really, really appreciate Ed. And he's made this thing really work on a big scale. So now I want to share with you, and then I'm going to bring on the filmmaker behind this. I'm going to share with you a scene, which is one of the actual scenes that you'll be scoring to if you get involved, or if you'd like to, if you've already been involved. Here's a new brief for you. Our briefs are different, as I mentioned on Bobby Ozinski's podcast. You don't get just like a written brief, you get the scene, and you get to actually score to it in your DAW. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to play for you the first of 3 new briefs that we have that you'll have a chance to actually purchase this brief. And you'll see, like, I mean, the value of this stuff is incredible, and the cost is next to nothing. It basically covers our cost, almost. But we want to get this out to the world, and we're not here to screw over independent musicians. There's enough of that going on out there in the world. Online, there are so many scams. Let's just call it like it is. You know, there's too many scams out there. There's a lot of good people, but there are people who prey upon independent musicians and charge thousands of dollars for some special program for music licensing. And maybe there's like 0.05% of the people that are actually succeeding on there. They're not even sometimes getting emails returned. And some of these are good people that are not scamming you, but it's just it's the system, how it's set up. So I set up a new system. And that is, if you submit, you get to score to the picture, which is a joy. And you get to learn all this other stuff by doing it. You get to submit the picture. Not only will you get a response, you'll get it from the filmmaker. And if you want, which you'll learn about today, I will personally do a critique if you want. I can just pass it straight on to the filmmaker if you'd like. But everyone so far has said, when I asked them, would you like me to do a critique on it before I pass it on? And they're all like, yes. So I'll give them a very detailed critique. You'll see the critique, one of them. You'll watch a submission that came in. You'll read my critique with me, word for word, and you'll talk to the person who actually submitted today. And we didn't have this opportunity in the first launch because we hadn't launched yet. So I'm excited about it. So first of all, without further ado, this is a scene, and the filmmaker will tell you more about it. But I want you to watch one of the scenes that you could be scoring to in your DAW, as of tonight. If you'd like, I'm going to share my screen right now, and we're going to watch this. And this is like a car chase, car crash scene. So it's high energy action. Okay, here we go.
Yep, got it.
Okay, so this is JD Hawk. So JD, if you could unmute your video and your mic and join us. There he is, Joe Hawk, also known as JD Hawk. Let's give it up for Mr. Joe Hawk. Give him some love in the chat. Welcome aboard. He's a brand new founding member of You Score the Scene as a filmmaker, an 11-time award-winning filmmaker. So there, you're getting some love in the chat there. So do you want me to call you JD or Joe?
Your preference, Joe, JD, either one.
Okay, Joe, because it says Joe there, so I'll call you Joe.
Perfect.
Okay. So Joe, I have a question before you introduce yourself, which is, I'm like a baby. I'm actually getting into the film industry now. And I'm starting to make films myself because I've had two dreams, music and movies. When I get to meet someone like you, I'm always very, very like a sponge as a student. And I understand when it comes to editing that if a person really knew the math of editing and how many seconds, these small number of seconds, that one little clip will actually appear on a movie before it changes to another clip. Like, what's that length like on a lot of films?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's you gotta understand too, is to do something like that, right? We're on a closed set, right? And there's a lot of preparation. To do something like that, it's either going to be a roll cage, kind of like a pipe ramp, or a wooden ramp. We did it with a wooden ramp. So all that preparation, we're talking about hours of preparation, safety. A lot of people just ask me, "Hey, Joe, did you go in that car and do that?" It's like, no, guys, we professionals do this. It's not like I can hop on a car. We make sure the gas tank is low, right? We chain the guy to the seat, take some seats out, wears a helmet. He's a professional stunt driver, right? So, doing all that, right? So we could, spend hours, preparing, closing roads, preparing hours and hours, and have like literally what you just saw. I mean, there's a pre-scene behind that scene that I didn't show, but we're talking about minutes, right? It could be a minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute. I mean, but in the end, it's worth it because that gives you that razzle and dazzle. And I think I wouldn't change it, but you're right. More times than not, the preparation is just way up here. And then the scene is, hey, there's the scene. That's it. But, we love what we do, and that's why we do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was a very like high quality. I mean, it looks like a major motion picture as I'm watching it. So well done to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And so as an editor is editing these films, I noticed, because I started studying this because I'm interested in getting into filmmaking. And I'm noticing that sometimes there's like a half second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, like one after the other. Because before I was just watching movies as a viewer, just a entertainment. Now I'm looking at the technical aspects of it. And sometimes there's so many edits that go so fast to create a certain flow. Like, aren't some of those are like half a second, 1 second, right? When they're actually editing a film?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, when I film all over the East Coast. I'm international. I'm working on a 7-part miniseries right now, called The White House is Fake. It's in 1992. It doesn't take place currently, but it's about shadow government, right? And in that, right? So for me, and a lot of filmmakers on here can agree, is that a lot of people spend more time on the right dialogue, right? The dialogue that would really, paint the scene. Well, other ways you can do that without even talking is this: emotions, facial expressions, right? So we have a lot of that in there, and it doesn't have to be quick, like to your point, 1 second, 2 second. It's just, the eyes, right? Just glaring at someone, or it could be anything. And that, I think, really elevates the scene. And I really love doing that too.
That's awesome. Is that called subtext, by the way? Is that
Mhm.
what that term means? Because that's what
Yeah.
I'm studying.
Yeah. That's a
Subtext,
little bit of subtext. Yeah.
meaning that there's a communication going on without words.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And it really, and when it's done correctly, I mean, it's really powerful. And I really, especially with my new miniseries being government political thriller, it's based on that plot. You got to do that a little bit too, because you really got to freak out your viewers, right? It's more about not just the words, but the actor's portrayal of your vision, your characters, and they really come to life when they do that. And it's a beautiful thing to watch.
That's awesome. So when we spoke on the phone, I was excited because you told me that, first of all, I just want to thank you so much for being here and being part of this and being, from Ed. Again, it all goes back to Ed Cohen. He's kind of the man in the middle here. But you talked to me about like future. You have a lot of future things that are happening, and you're
Oh
looking
yeah.
for some composers to possibly work with.
That is correct. Like right now, I have my miniseries we filmed. By the way, you guys are going to get your socks blown off. Connecticut, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Roswell, New Mexico. We were in California last month filming scenes in two production houses, Martin Sound and Site LA. So for me, I go where the vision can tell the story correctly, right? So I want that, that correct pre-stand set, or I want the right location, because I don't like to cheat or take shortcuts to really convey my story, because my story as a writer, director, producer is very important to convey it correctly. So right now I finished episode 1 and 2. Those are in post right now. I've been filming 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 very like every weekend. Like in fact, this weekend I'm filming more for episode, I think, 4 and 6. And we've been at this new series since September of 2025, filming all over the place. And again, it takes time, because why? The right location, the right art direction, the right everything, the right props. And it definitely helps the characters, your actors, basically portray them correctly, because they're in the right environment, they're in the right scene. And I'm just really excited for this one. And yeah, we're just charging forward on this.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. So just so everyone knows out there, like personally, this is a dream come true for me. Like, because since I was a little kid, I used to take those, what do they call those, Joe, like Super 8 cameras or something? Like that's probably before your time.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to. Yeah, but yes, yes.
So I used to have these Super 8 camera with me and my little brother, and we'd make these different movies and stop, whatever you call it, stop frame, or frame by frame things, and move them around. So I always had this dream to get into films, and music was my number one thing. So I did music, and I've gotten some successes, and now I'm getting into film. And what's really important for people to know is this car scene, this like little shootout, this high action scene. And you can correct me if I'm wrong at any point here, Joe. But
yes,
but Joe is looking for your craft. He wants to see the best that you can do on this kind of a high action scene, because he's looking for composers to work with for future projects.
You are correct. Yeah. So what you did see is a prior project. It's already out, but this gives you an example of what to expect. Now, in my series, it's political thriller, so there's a lot of very dramatic scenes, interrogation scenes. There's going to be a little bit of action, a little bit of fighting, a little bit of basically it's about a kid. His name's Nelson Conrad. He's 17 out of high school, sees something under the highway, kind of gets too far. Where do these tunnels lead? He starts looking, asking the wrong questions, and he's basically trapped by Mr. James Hutchison, who is a city engineer, but he really isn't. He works for the government, right? So it's got that whole illusion. It's got that secret kind of suspense to it. So what we're really looking to hear is your talent. Now I'm very protective of my work because this is not even out yet. So I do know Gary and everyone. We know we do the NDA, protect everyone. That's fine. It's just I just wanted to share a little bit of a tease of some prior work. Not the exact work you'll be working on, but it's going to be very similar. And there's going to be a lot of dramatic scenes, like I said, a little action. But I just kind of want to see what different styles everyone has, right? Because there's different composers that can do many different things. Very heavy on the orchestra or very heavy on whatever their talent is or their mainstream is. Maybe they just do mob movies or maybe they do romance movies. But that's okay. Still, they can go out their comfort zone and show me what you got. But that's what it's all about, is really showing us as a community. And I'm very happy to be here with Ed, with Gary, everyone here, is that I call it a movement, right? We're moving forward with something so beautiful, so powerful, that this is going to open doors to a lot of the independent filmmakers like myself, probably the 10s, 20s, 30s, how many people are on here, I don't know, but it's a beautiful thing. So thanks for inviting me here, Gary and Ed.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome so much. So we'll have two different types of briefs, just so everyone knows. This is a perfect example of one type, and that is he doesn't have his future scenes ready for us yet, but he wants to actually start auditioning composers now.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a scene that's been out there, but you get to put it onto his work, and he gets to watch your work on his. And then from there, he can start picking and choosing who he wants to work with. And then in the future, he'll be giving us scenes from future productions when those are ready. So the other type of brief we have, and you'll see this if you go to, I'm going to take you to the website right now to everybody. I'm going to share it in just a moment. And you'll see our catalog of briefs. And many of them are films that have not come out yet, and they will be coming out. So, and that's what we're all working towards, is those licensing opportunities. So let's give it up for JD Hawk, also known as Joe Hawk. And this is another person, another filmmaker that you'll be able to network directly with by just purchasing the scenes and then submitting them. They're going to go straight to him. He'll give you some feedback and it'll come back to you. And then if you'd like, I can do feedback before it gets to him, so that we're making sure, you can at least get my take on it and see, because I've been doing this for a long time, Joe. And my whole thing is to help filmmakers. So anything that we can do to help you as a community, that's what we're here for.
Awesome. Thanks for the invite here, Gary, and everyone for listening. We appreciate you. Hope to work with a lot of you very soon.
Awesome. Let's give it up once again for Mr. Joe Hawk.
Woo.
All right, Joe. So
Thank
I'm going to share my screen real quick right now, and I'm going to take you all to the website, and I want to show you an update on it, because Kelly Walsh behind the scenes has been doing an incredible job on this website. And there is nothing like this in the industry, by the way. It just turns out that this idea I came up with just hasn't been done. And that is creating a paradigm shift in two industries at the same time in how they work together. And without a middleman now, we can actually have these two industries networking together directly. So check this out. Kelly, can you see the website?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So there you see Bobby Ozinski at the top, and this is at teammusiclicensing.com/YSTS, which stands for You Score the Scene. Kelly, can you put that URL in the chat?
Yes, absolutely. Putting it in there now.
Awesome. Thank you. So the top of the website is a quote from Bobby right from the podcast that you saw. So I don't need to read that. And then Charlie Feldman, who's a board member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the former vice president of BMI. He's actually become a very, very close friend of mine. And he's involved right now in my film production company. And when he first found out about this, here's what he said from Charlie Feldman, former vice president of BMI. I loved hearing about You Score the Scene. As a board member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame, which allows me to interact with many composers and songwriters, this is exactly the kind of innovative thinking that helps propel creativity and achieve success. Kelly's giving you the link to this website right now. And it says if you're already briefed, then you can order your scenes right now, and you can click there. Or it says need more info, watch this video and move on. And that's the podcast video that you saw. And it talks about all the stuff I talked about in the podcast, so I don't need to read this to you. But let's say you're a bit briefed already, and you click here. Then it takes you here, revolutionary briefs like no other in the music industry. The future is here. You score the scene. And now here are the briefs. I'll be showing this one to you soon, which is the Rum Runners of Katama Bay. Now, Charlie Feldman, who I just introduced you to, at least, on the website, he is a part of my film production company, along with Eric Hassenfang, a very close friend of mine. And we're putting together this movie called The Rum Runners of Katama Bay. Katama Bay is on Martha's Vineyard, and this is back in the 1890s, 1920s. That's what this movie will take place in. Then we saw J.D. Hawk. Here's the next one. And by the way, if you need more information as you're going into this website, you can either click here, which says, I'm ready to download the full scene now. And you'll also get a free library of clips that you can use for your show reel. But if you're not ready, you go here, click the blue button, and you'll be able to watch on all these briefs a very short sample of the scene, like you saw this one. So here's what you'll see. So there's a short sample of that scene. And then it gives you a brief. There is a written brief that goes with these, so you get some more information and back information. And then when you're ready, you just click here, and then you'll be into this page where you can actually purchase the scene and download it right into your DW. Okay, so that's that. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to a person who actually submitted to You Score the Scene. Her name is Sally Whittam from the UK. And it's very late there. I just have to say thank you so much for showing up.
That's
what time is it there?
You're worth it, Gary.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you're getting a lot of greetings. Everybody, let's give some love to Sally for being here. It's very late. She's in the UK.
Thanks, everyone. Yes, it's coming.
Thank you, Sally.
Yeah. And Sally, are you the type of person who's comfortable in front of a camera? Have you been in front of the camera before a lot? Are you a public speaker?
Yes, I've been.
Yeah.
I used to be a teacher, so.
Oh, there you go.
It's like speaking. Yeah.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do, Sally, is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to play the submission that you gave us, and I'm going to read the critique that I sent back to you, and then I want to get your take on this whole thing and this whole process that we're doing. Okay. Right. Yeah. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play one of the scenes that are on the website that Sally purchased and she submitted. And we're going to watch that first here. So I'm going to open with VLC. And Kelly, let me know if you hear this and see this right away.
Yep. Looks good. Sounds good.
Trust me, me and you this weekend at the cabin. It's gonna be great.
Great. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let me go pay for these.
You know it's not gonna leave here for you, right?
Excuse me?
He's married.
No, he's not.
The mark around his ring finger says otherwise. Could be recently divorced.
Scumbag. Thank you for letting me know.
$257, please. Thank you.
What? Nothing. What's up, Al?
Stop harassing my customers.
He's a piece of shit.
It's not your business, man.
She needed to know. Thanks, Al.
Thank you. We'll look for no trouble.
I don't need to.
I can't believe you. You never told me you were married.
What?
Your ring finger?
Excuse me, man. If there's ever anything you need me to look into, here's my card.
Who the hell is this guy?
My name is Jason Flores. I'm a private investigator. You two enjoy your weekend now.
I'm a private investigator?
I didn't, but I should have for your slimy ass.
Yeah. Trust me.
let's give it up for Sally Whittam. Very cool. Very, very nice. So I received that as one of the submissions. And then what I did was I contacted Sally via email. So I wrote back to her and I said, "Hello, Sally. Thank you for your submission. And this is what you'll be getting from me." And you'll see that the second sentence here says this: "Here is my feedback for you to consider. I would be happy to pass your submission on to the filmmaker," and I will, "but I recommend making a few changes first. So if there's something that I see that I think could give you a better shot at actually getting yourself in a position to work with these filmmakers, I'll speak up and I'll say so." Now, as I started this whole thing, because we're in the second phase of beta testing, I got a response from one of the people that submitted and said, "Gary, I just want you to know something. Nowhere in my life on anything ever did I submit to something and have feedback right away and be given an opportunity to resubmit something improved. And I just wanted to give you that for feedback because I know you're doing a beta test." And they said, "This is like," and for me, that's just kind of how I operate. So the feedback's important for me to get because I'm thinking everybody does this. Our family at Team is unique in this way. And that is, we always talk about quality culture over quantity culture. So I try to give good quality feedback, and I'm trying to set up You Score the Scene so that it's helpful to you in your career and helpful to filmmakers. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So, and again, you might get a critique from me, and if you answer back, say, "Thank you so much, that's awesome. I just want to send it straight on to the filmmaker." I will send it straight on to the filmmaker. And believe me, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, he didn't listen to me or she didn't listen to me and now I don't like her. I don't like you anymore." No, not at all. Not at all. Like, you're the artist. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your art. So, my critique: the music is very nicely composed, performed, and mixed. Let's talk about the philosophy and approach of scoring to a scene. The visual is the main course, and the music is like salad dressing. You wouldn't pour the salad dressing all over the salad or all over the meal. It should be used sparingly and mixed in. When I watch the scene as it stands now, again, the music is very nicely done. The message I'm getting is that I'm watching a music video. What is a music video? It's a visual experience where a song is played all the way through while the scene changes. That is what I experience. I follow a specific philosophy when it comes to composing and arranging music. My observation is that composers and songwriters tend to believe they have only one tool, sound. The truth is, a composer and a songwriter have two tools, sound and two, silence. I experience an emotional weak link while watching this scene with the music arranged and edited the way it is. There are no edits, and that is why I feel like someone is, quote, talking too much while the scene develops. The music is, quote, talking too much, in my opinion. I suggest you try this experiment and then resubmit. Try to let the scene breathe with silence. How much silence? When? How often? That is a job I will leave to you so that I don't get into a destructive way of mentoring, which is telling an artist exactly how to do their art. I will not venture there. It is a surefire way to ruin an artist. I give you tools, not rules. I say that a lot. And that's the same for today. Anything here is like, I'm a student just along with everybody else. I'm a sponge. I'm always wanting to learn. And I'm just sharing tools, not giving you rules. The tool I'm handing you is silence. Use it wisely and resubmit. Thank you. And then I asked her if she'd be happy, I think, P.S., let me know if it's okay to publish this critique so I can help other people with their careers. Thank you for considering my request. And she said, yes, I'm happy for you to publish the critique. So I just want you to see in writing, I have, okay, to read that critique. So, Sally, thank you so much for being here because I didn't want to just yap away. I know I'm already talking too much, but I wanted to get filmmakers to give their opinions and their viewpoints. I wanted Ed Cohen to give his, and then I also wanted someone who's actually doing this program right now. This is brand new, never been done. I want to hear from you. Like, this is not scripted. I don't know what you're going to say. So I'm learning along with everybody else. I'm curious to see how it went for you and what you learned and what you get out of this.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful to have found you, really, because I know I can compose, and I've been practicing with film, but to actually feedback from you is brilliant. And I said to you the other day that when you said it's not a music video, or I've made it into a music video, basically, it just really hit home. I mean, quite often I've composed, say, for theatre and that sort of thing, and I do incidental music, so little sounds here, little sounds there. But for some reason, because I suddenly had this film in front of me, it was almost like I had to have music from beginning to end. And I mean, there wasn't any guidance given from the filmmaker at all. So I think my main idea was, what sort of emotion do I want? Should it be up tempo? Should it be back? So I decided to make it laid back and, in that style that I did. And then I filled the whole film out, which was, I mean, it was good practice. And I still I made sure that I, modulated the chords when the scene changed, and came more up tempo when eventually he walks away from the couple and that sort of thing. So I felt as though I was writing to film, but you're absolutely spot on. It was just too much. I am reworking it and it will be back in.
Awesome. And how's that going? Have you jumped in yet?
I've actually jumped in on the Golden Children one. I haven't jumped in on this one as yet.
So the Golden Children is another one that we have. Yeah.
That's one I'm going to be sending off as soon as I get back. So that will be with you this weekend. Probably, it'll probably be this weekend that both pieces come back.
Awesome.
But it's so helpful, and it's also very helpful to have an objective point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? You get so into the piece yourself, and you decide on a direction and that sort of thing. It's very hard to actually stand back and be objective as opposed to subjective.
I understand. Yeah. And one thing that came up, because I have a spreadsheet that I'm working on, and I could even show people. I'll just share this with people just so you can see, because we're just being very transparent here. This is not scripted, and this is a brand new revolutionary way for filmmakers to work with musicians. And so I'm a researcher. That's mainly what I do. I mean, I do music and I'm working with film, but I love research, and so I'm just going to show everyone real quickly here. Sally, can you see this? There's like a spreadsheet here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are people that are submitting, and I'm going through, and I'm actually putting into the spreadsheet the critiques that I'm writing so that I have everything very organized. And one of the things that came up is, oh, that's you. Yeah, that's you right there. So on another one that I wrote for you, it was similar. It was similar in there. I said, consider also this: the emotions of this scene change with various scripted lines. Like there was sarcasm, and then somebody was trying to chill somebody out, and then somebody got a little angry. So you have these different emotions as the scene progresses. And I said, do you have to write new music for the other emotional parts of the script? I said, do you have to? And I said, no, not necessarily. You can just use silence there. It will frame and amplify the changing emotions of the script. And the movie just might become even more engaging that way. And so this is something I just wanted to point out. Like, I'm a mentor, teacher at heart. And I guess, Sally, you are too. You were a teacher. So, I mean, if Kelly didn't, shut this webinar off, I'll be here like for 8 hours, just going on and on. I love this, I just won't shut up. But here's one thing that I just wanted to tell everyone. And that is, sometimes a composer will think that they have to use sound. So if the scene changes this emotion, they go, oh, it's getting like mysterious here. I'm going to have my music get mysterious here. Well, sometimes just let the movie do its own music. That's where you can use silence. If it changes emotion at one point, sometimes just stop talking, with your music, and let the movie be the music at that time and carry that emotion. So that's just, and again, I'm not saying you have to. There's scenes, Sally, where it's completely appropriate for you to have your music play from the very
Yeah.
beginning, very
Yeah.
end. Totally.
Yeah.
I just felt like on this one, that was just my feedback, my opinion. No,
No, it was very helpful. Yeah.
good. Oh, thank you. Everybody,
Yeah.
let's show love again to Sally. I mean, she was like
Thank you.
just incredible, Sally, to be here, especially being in the UK. And I see how this is important this is to you. And I just want to be here to service you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 Thank you so much, Sally. Great job.
Yeah, let's give it up for Sally Whittam. All right. You're getting a lot of thumbs up and thanks. Thank you, Sally. Great job. Very inspiring. Hand claps. That's awesome. Okay. Great talent, Sally, they said. So she's great, isn't she? Really talented as a musician as well.
Yeah, excellent. It was great work.
Yeah. And so this is something that I want you to participate in. I want people to participate in this. And you know, I'm not just like selling to make money. Obviously, I'm not making money because it's very inexpensive. We're just covering partially the costs. I'm trying to spread this new paradigm shift into the industry. That's my intention right now. And I'm basically asking you and telling you, just be straight up, I'm telling you to get involved, purchase these scenes, get them into your DAW, learn how to be a music supervisor, a music editor, an arranger, a composer, like, you know, and also a film editor, a film mixer. You're going to be wearing all these hats. Some of you are going to be learning for the first time how to bring a video into your DAW and deal with it. But I want you to learn all those things because you become more valuable. Your confidence goes up. Anything I can do to increase your confidence as a musician and on all these other hats is going to move you much closer to your goals and success in your career than anything else I could do. And what I found is that this You Score the Scene thing, what I found, I didn't even look for this. I found it, which is this raises confidence like nothing else before. When you send that thing in and you put your music on that video and you mixed it all and you put it together and you chose what music and you did this and you send it in there, I watch the confidence of people that are doing this and it's out the roof. And when you're confident, you make more money if that's part of your goal here. So let other people try to charge thousands of dollars for music licensing, whatever. That's not me. Sorry. No, I sincerely would like to help you with your career. And if you have good character and work on being a good person to yourself and to other people, and you're doing good work, it will happen. It's a matter of time, but it will happen. You have to believe in yourself and just don't give up. Okay? All right. We're going to bring up the next brief right now. And the filmmaker here is Alessandro V. Andriuli. I love that name. I got to say, I feel like I'm in Italy every time I say that name. Alessandro V. Andriuli. It took me like 3 days to memorize that. But this guy is gold. Talk about character. Talk about character. And I think you saw it in J.D. Hawk as well. I'm not just like throwing a bunch of filmmakers in here. I'm looking for filmmakers and composers who are what we call trusted composers or trusted filmmakers, good people, great people working together. And that's what I want you to become part of this whole community. So Alessandro, here's a perfect example. I asked him several weeks ago, would you like to have this new brief part of our webinar? Yes. I said, awesome, thank you. Can you make it yes, I'll be there. Okay, great. Every time I would go to send an email or a text to him, I would get one right before I sent mine. Gary, do you need blah, blah? That was exactly what I wanted to text him about. It's like 5-star service. You know, when you're a 5-star restaurant, I don't know if any of you know this, that to become a 5-star restaurant, I know people in the restaurant business, you have to check off this checklist. Every one of them has to be checked off in order for you to become a 5-star restaurant. And guess what one of the check marks are? The people who service the public predict what they need. So like they'll come to your table and pour your glass of water before you even think about like, oh yeah, I was just about to ask for that. So they predict your needs. And that's Alessandro. Alessandro is a 5-star filmmaker in my book. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'm going to now play for you the next scene, which is the new brief. And what he's done, which is incredible, he's created these mini documentaries, and you're going to be able to score the entire documentary. And here we go. So this one is called Arrow, and you'll see why in a moment. So there's no sound yet. And it'll be actually quiet for a minute. And then when the sound comes on, Kelly, let me know if you hear it.
Yep, seeing it and hearing it.
My art makes me extremely happy because I'm not bound by rules and regulations. I'm free to express myself without condemnation. I'm freedom to express myself on my artwork without having unforgiveness and resentment. I'm free from all that when I'm doing my artwork. I'm free from the world and the pain that the world has to offer when I'm doing my art. It's all about me and my world. That's my world on the canvas. And that's how I feel when I'm doing my artwork. It's peace. This is where I was homeless, living under this bridge. And it was a very dark time for me. I felt alone. I just felt betrayed. I felt like God forsook me. I've been homeless for off and on for over 20 years. This is where I slept, amongst the trash. My name is Arrow, and the good thing about that name is I knew I had to hit my target. In other words, my target, my goal, to be persistent, to hit my mark, and to get out from under this bridge. And I hit my mark. How do I bring joy to others is when they look at my art pieces and they get a feeling of adventure, they get a feeling of joy, the journey that I take my people who looks at my art, and they get a sense of journey, they get a sense of peace, and that's what I think about my artwork. My relationship with my mother was very toxic. It was very unruly. It was very controlling, unsupportive. So I had to find it in myself to forgive her after I told her that her own brother abused me. I've been broken. I've been misunderstood. I have people that just didn't want to hear me out, and they don't want to understand where I'm coming from because they're caught in their own mind. I've been broken. I've been in pain. I've been in pain. I've been abused behind closed doors. I've been misunderstood behind closed doors. I've been hurt. I've been physically abused. I've been sexually abused. I've been hurt. but I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. After all the abuse, after all the physical abuse, all the verbal abuse, all laying under that bridge, don't know where my meal gonna come from. I gotta keep one eye open because I'm scared somebody gonna cut my throat or something. Yeah, I've been homeless. I've been hurt. Like nobody understand me. Brightness. It's called color therapy. It soothes my mind. It soothes my well-being. It brings peace. Certain colors bring peace to me, and those are mostly found in all of my art pieces. I was 3 years old when I fell in love with color. I was scribbling on the wall, my mother's walls with crayons. When I scribbled on the wall, I felt freedom. When I scribbled on the wall, I felt peace. When I scribbled on the wall, I didn't feel condemned. When I scribbled on the wall, it was so much freedom. I can't even explain how much freedom that I felt. I was able to do something creative with crayons and didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I was making a mark on the wall, and I felt good at that point. This is my this right here represents peace for me. This is who I am. I'm a big panda bear on the inside. And why am I so emotional? God, I want to help raise these pandas, and I guess because I want to give them that love and attention and affection that I didn't get as a child. My name is Arrow, and I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward like an arrow. And my target is love. That's my target.
Let's give it up for Alessandro Andriuli. Let's show some love. Put it in the chat. Wow, how moving that was. Very emotional. Incredible. What'd you think of that, you guys? Show me in the chat. Great, nicely done. Wow, great and so relevant. Nice. I loved it. Heart. Very emotional from Sally. Moving from LF. I loved it from Robert. Yeah. Very emotional and touching. Inspiring. That was a moving documentary, personal, emotional, artistic too. I heard the music as I watched it. Interesting. Something about Connecticut. There's so many. I'm sorry, I can't read them all. Oh my God, there's like so many coming in. Thank you for all of you for just participating and being here. And, you know, I mean, I've got you as a captive audience. And what my goal is right now is to share with you your counterparts in the film industry and to share you as a composer with them. So without further ado, let us bring this incredible filmmaker in here, Alessandro V. Andriuli. If you want to unmute your mic and your video, there he is. So let's give it up for Alessandro. What an incredible piece of art. Just so moving. Yeah.
Thank you.
Incredible. So Alessandro, I'm so fascinated by you because you do these, like one of the things you do that I'm learning is that you do these mini documentaries and then sharing them with us. I mean, I can't thank you enough to give a composer something like that, like whether they get the gig or not, just to give them the chance to actually hear back from you once you hear their music on your work, to me is like it's just not done in our industry. And I feel so blessed that I came up with this idea so I can stand back and watch this all this networking going on. I mean, you should see it from my vantage point, Alessandro. And in a way you are, because you're a founding member with us. You know, you're watching this thing develop from the ground up. And so I just wanted to thank you, first of all, like from the bottom of my heart. It sounds trite, but it's true. And I just wanted you to comment on how you came up with this. Like this documentary was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate Gary and everybody for being a part of this. Just first off, I want to say quickly that what I did with my piece when I made it is my intention was to use the soundscape of the city as the score itself, as the music, kind of like a Robert Bresson using the sound of the space itself to create the musicality. And I was just in a really perfect place to do this, coming out of COVID, getting into a different headspace, which was that I wanted to be a part of the community I was a part of. I wanted to be present. So I started making space for a lot of artists and going to different gallery exhibits and shows and things like that. And my friend Joey Marsoci was holding a gallery exhibit at Hartford Art Space called Behind the Mask. And it was about mental health and people masking to cope with mental health.
Wow.
So all the various artists that were participating had gone through some sort of a trauma and had put that trauma into their art as a form of expression. And a lot of them actually had put so much of themselves into the piece that immediately when they were done making it, they just shelved it and didn't even look at it. Like it was a lot. And I don't think they even realized how much they had put into the pieces. So when they did the exhibit, for it was like a 30-day exhibit, they had a weekend where they had an artist talks where the artists can come down and speak for like an hour and talk about their trauma and then talk about the art itself. And even they were even realizing how much they had really put into the pieces and in real time as they were talking to the audience.
Wow.
And it was such an attentive event that you could hear like a pin drop from across the room. Everybody was just tuned in. And so it was pretty easy place to find people that are really interesting. And I was doing a program called The Art of Documentary. I'm a narrative filmmaker, and I was taking this online program called The Art of Documentary with filmmakers from all over the world. There were professional narrative filmmakers wanting to learn documentary, and they gave us these challenge things to be able to make a movie under 7 minutes. And you had 3 days to make the film. It had to be under 7 minutes long, and everything that happened in the film had to take place in a 24-hour period, and it could not take you couldn't film anything outside of that 24-hour period. But then you were given like a grace of like 6 hours the next day to just do B-roll, just like insert imagery to kind of throw in there as a kind of saving grace if you were just so much in the story that you didn't have the energy or time or the right lighting, because I use a lot of natural light. So that's kind of how it came about. And I walked up to Arrow. Actually, I was the first person to speak that day. And it wasn't a big crowd. It was maybe 10 people. By the end of the night, it was like 100, 120 people. But when I got there, it was about 10 people. And I was doing my piece and I was talking about my project. And it was very personal. And I started speaking, and all of a sudden, 8 people walked out of the room before I even really fully got started. And I was kind of deflated. And Arrow saw me. And he just mouthed the words, "Keep going, go for it."
Wow.
Yeah. And so I did my piece. I was doing this. I was fundraising for a visual poem project that I had done, which I can share with you guys later. And I was doing my slam poetry, which is about the trauma I had suffered. And I just used this big volume of space. I was like, it's a big gallery. There's nobody here. There's big walls I can bounce off of. And I really used the space up as a poet to express the piece. And then afterwards, when he was doing his introduction, he said, "Hey, Alessandro, I love the way you did your poetry. Can you do my introduction in your style?" And so I did his introduction. And then I talked to him afterwards, and I said, "I'd love to make something with you." Before I even finished the sentence, he just said, "Yes, I trust you. I feel comfortable around you. You were open and vulnerable around me." And so we went and went under the bridge. I think the next week went under the bridge, and he let me show me where he was homeless, and we had lunches multiple times. I took him out to lunch, and we just talked. And so for weeks we just talked until I fully understood the story, and I kept showing him drafts of my ideas of what I wanted to shoot until he finally gave me the thumbs up and said that feels authentic to me. And he was there throughout the whole process to really look at what I had shot afterwards and making sure it felt authentic.
Amazing. So I just wanted to see what people thought, what kind of emotions you experienced when you watched that documentary. And again, this is something that, I mean, I don't have to sell this. I know I don't. It sells itself, in terms of a composer that would like to try their hand with a filmmaker. I mean, this is like ideal. So, but I'd like to see what emotions that you went through. I'm looking at the chat right now. What kind of emotions did you feel while watching Arrow, the documentary by Alessandro Andriuli? Go ahead and type into the chat your reactions and your emotional reaction to that documentary.
While we're waiting for people to type in there, and so this is Kelly, and people may be struggling like I am to put it into words. I mean, it was definitely really moving, heartrending.
Pain, betrayal, redemption.
Right. There you go. And Sally, sorrow and pain, but then positivity and love. Yeah.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry, I cut you off, Kelly.
No, that's okay. It was that kind of thing, though. These, the seesaw of emotions, this like horror, sad, sorrowful, yet this hope, and brightness. Right, here's this Mark Zadro. It gets that message across. Frustrating that it slipped off. Frustrating that the world still has so much of these situations. Yeah, moving, touching, resilient. I noticed all the different media Arrow used, multi-artistic. Yeah, really fascinating, his approach to art.
It was so cool what he said about his name.
Yeah.
How he defines himself with his name.
He is somebody who really kind of basically raised himself and is creating his own positive path forward with no guidance. He definitely got help from the state. He gets assisted living. He gets all sorts of different things to help out, but he also gives back and does things for the community. He goes down to the airport and puts out like white paper and crayons and just invites anybody to come over. just color,
cool.
Color, which I thought like philosophically was a beautiful thing about like get yourself back to when you were a kid, when you were just making a mark on the page with the joy of it without thinking about comparing it to anything else and just for the joy of making a mark to the page. So he really kind of strips everything back and strips it down to something basic and gives me these different perspectives when we hang out and talk. That I think are just really profound.
There's a tremendous wisdom there.
Yeah.
Mark Richards said, it's hard to put this into words. I had to back up and just let it hit me. And I totally identify with that. Joe Hawk, remembering his roots and how he overcame adversity, even in the darkest hour, it reminds you to forge ahead and never lose focus. Here I am, and here we are with art and music, makes a mark on his purpose and his identity. Really, really moving.
Doug Martin, I saw his courage in being so vulnerable and his determination in making his mark. Yeah. Wow. Just so, if those of you who are here at this webinar are expected to have a script, which I just threw it out for this one. You're not getting that. If you were like, sign up now for this, you score the scene. And oh, by the way, I'm not telling you this, but once you sign up, I'm going to upsell you to $1,000 1-year-long course or something. That's not happening here. What this is this is my sincere dream turning into a reality. Something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to help the film and music industry, and I'm able to do it. I'm so fortunate to do this. So if you could see this through my eyes, what I'm saying is, not only do I want you to purchase these three new briefs today, but from the last webinar, there's a package of 4, so there's 7 together, and we have this big discount. And yes, I'm selling it, but why am I selling it? I want to raise your confidence. I want to get you involved in a community of great people. That's why I'm actually doing this webinar more kind of like a podcast, if you notice, the way I'm just even communicating to Alessandro. I'm talking to him about his art, about his heart, about the heart of the subject that he's shooting, the person in the film. It's about why are we doing this? This is not about what we're doing today. It's not about what we're doing. Why are we doing this? Why are you a composer? Why are you a musician? Why did you get involved in the arts? Why are you a filmmaker? How can we help each other? The rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah,
Yes,
if I could hop in there real
Yeah.
quick, I can't help it. So Bruno shared one last comment while we were doing these things, and he said, "Art as a survival method," and I think that encapsulates a lot of like you said, what are we here for? Why do we do what we do? And for so many of us, this making of art is a way to figure our emotions out, to figure ourselves out, to explore who we are, and in many cases, to heal from what we've been through.
Wow. Did you expect to be talking about this today, Kelly?
And not at all. I really did not. No.
No, it's
So
great. It's
props
awesome.
to Alessandro for this was the icing on the cake.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Alessandro. So let's all give some more love to Alessandro. Put it in the chat. Thank him for being here today. And I do want you all to go ahead and purchase these. We have a special webinar thing. Kelly's going to tell you about it. Yes, it's going to be like a commercial. Yes, we're going to ask you to buy something, but it's so inexpensive. It's amazing, like with the value for this stuff. And I want you to get involved in this thing. I'm trying to grow the numbers of good people, of good, trusted composers. One big thing before you go, Alessandro, we touched on this on the last webinar, and that is I talked to a whole bunch of like 50 filmmakers when I was doing my beta test, and you were one of them.
Mhm.
And I tried to see if there was a common denominator of what the filmmakers wanted in a composer. And I got one. Every one of those 50 people said almost word for word the same thing, which was a trusted individual, not just somebody who was good at their craft. They wanted a trusted composer. What does that mean to you in terms of just doing business, communicating back and forth, speed of communication, working together, smoothness of teammanship? Like, what does it mean to you?
I think that I always look for the intention of the person across from me when I'm working with them and what their expectations are. For my own personal projects, I really do like working with people that there's a purity to what we're doing. There's an intentionality to it, and there's definitely a level of trust. I work hard to earn that. I'm constantly vulnerable with people in the art scene, and I make space for them. I ask questions. I'm inquisitive. A lot of folks that are in the arts, you're not really making a lot of money. So someone being inquisitive and curious about your work becomes a sort of currency, which definitely helps propel them forward. With Arrow, it was just the idea of making space and seeing the other person, truly seeing the other person. And I get as much out of that as Arrow gets out of it as well. Like it was a mutually beneficial thing. I think I spoke about this film a while ago, and that when we were done filming at the end of the day, we ended filming in his studio space where he creates his art, where he's spray painting and all that. That was where we filmed our last bit of filming for the day. And he had refused to eat. It was really intense for him to be so vulnerable for so long. He was just up from the crack of dawn until like at 7 o'clock at night, refused to eat, had a little bit of water. That's it. And then finally he drank some water and we were talking and he's like, okay, I've shared, now your turn. And then I started talking about my own stuff and we just I talked for like an hour and just cried and talked about my own things and
Wow.
was vulnerable. And it was just this beautiful catharsis of being around somebody else where you can be vulnerable and it's okay. It's okay to be messy around this other person.
Yeah.
It's okay to be vulnerable. It is very much a superpower. And when you put vulnerability and authenticity into your work, real truth, real presence, real vulnerability, real ugliness, real things about yourself or your life in your own work, it tends to resonate in a massive way to people because it's almost like permission for them to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
Like the idea that I had a friend whose sister passed away, and when she was in hospice, she was speaking to a bunch of us, and she said, "This sucks. It's okay to say this sucks right now. I'm not going to get any better, and this sucks." And it's this complete, unabashed vulnerability that really blew my socks off and just really stuck with me. It's something that I always hear. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to say this sucks. It's okay. We don't have to mask and pretend everything's okay all the time. There's something special and beautiful about that.
That's awesome. You know, I'm mainly a researcher. I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, and for a while, and I've researched different subjects. And one time I was researching language, and I found out that in the English language, there's no one word that describes and defines life, whereas in other languages, in some languages, there are. So I made one up and I published it, and the word is brutiful, brutal and beautiful, brutiful, and that kind of describes life, and that's kind of what I got even out of that documentary. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All
And
right.
thank you for sharing your own perspective on that.
Yeah. And I just want to say this too. It's so inspiring, your work and you, that
Thank you.
I think that's what I was getting from this thing. I think I was getting your intention and the therapeutic value of making the documentary from your point of view. Like, I think I got that, which is just incredible. So I think I'm going to even try to compose to that one. And you don't have to hear it because it's kind of unfair for me to send it in, but I'm just going to do it for me, for therapy.
I don't know if anybody's ever played the video game Breath of the Wild, but I really appreciated how they approached scoring the game, which was they'd have this nature sound, and then a little bit of piano would come in, and then it would for a little sequence, and then it would just fade out and go back to the nature sounds. Like, I kind of like the idea of just sprinkling music in little moments where it's necessary instead of just putting a track in there. I feel like that's what this kind of film probably needs. Is just a sprinkling of music and kind of trickling in, trickling out. Especially there's like that sequence where he talks about the rigidity of his mother, and I had the plant growing out of the concrete, and it was framed by two pieces of broken sidewalk. And it almost looked like the shape of a pot, like an empty negative space of a pot with the plant growing out of it.
Right.
And so it's like the idea of something soft and alive breaking free from the concrete. Yeah.
So I want all composers, indie musicians that are here right now, just to take note for a moment that you're witnessing a paradigm shift in two industries right now. Like, you just saw the entire documentary that you'll have a chance to get into your DAW and compose to. You just heard from the heart of the filmmaker. So this is how I'm going to be doing this from now on, by the way. I'm going to be doing webinars, bringing on new filmmakers and new briefs, and you're going to be able to watch and talk and listen and later ask questions, so that this is way different than the way the industry goes, which I call ridiculous. Again, the people are not ridiculous, but the system is ridiculous. You get a written brief, it hardly says anything, and then you have to figure out what to send in, and you send it in with hundreds or thousands of other people, and you usually don't even get an email back. This is completely different. So I hope you all appreciate that. And just for me as a researcher, in the chat right now, if you were listening to what I was just explaining, I want you, and just be totally brutally honest with me, from 1 to 10, this idea of you score the scene, where would you place it in terms of usefulness and value to you as a composer? 10 being the best, 1 being poor or the worst. So go ahead and start dropping those in there, because I'm going to save this for after this webinar is over, and I want to get an idea.
10, 9/10, 8.
Oh.
So I'm reading them as they come in. 10.
Oh, wow.
9. 10. Has to be 10. Definitely approaching 10. 9. Jersey gave a lot of hands that
10,
add up.
10 thumbs up. Yeah. Okay.
9.
Hearing from your collaborators directly.
Yeah, another 10.
Thank you, everyone, for basically contributing, giving your feedback. It's very important to me, because this is a new thing, brand new, has never been done before, and we're pioneering something new, and so I appreciate that very much. So they're normally $30, which is already very inexpensive for these briefs, and now it's 3 briefs for just $45. So 3 briefs for $45. A percentage of that is going to go to the filmmakers for giving the feedback and for just being part of this program, because if you look at how much time and money goes into making a film versus a piece of music, I wanted to make sure that we were fair in that way. And I think that's only fair to a person in your position, Alessandro. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Yeah, deadlines are good, Lindsay says. That's right. So go ahead and click on that link and go ahead and get that. Kelly, give the other deal link in there too, because I want them to do both of them. There's another deal for 4 briefs as well. And that's another one. Alessandro has another documentary in our other special. All right, now we're going to do the final brief and then we're going to wrap up. And this brief is very interesting because there's a production company, a film production company. Thank you, Alessandro. There was a film production company called FGH Productions. And what the F is Charlie Feldman, his last name. The G is actually my last name, so it's Gary Gray. And the H is Eric Hassenfang, who is my partner with Charlie in a new film production company that we're putting together. And we're putting together a film called Rum Runners of Katama Bay. So, they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, you all know me, and so I'm part of this brief. And I want to present to you an opening narration scene on a film called Rum Runners of Katama Bay. I was inspired to spark the idea for this film, and I'll give you a little bit of backdrop about it, because I visited Martha's Vineyard. How many people here have actually seen or gotten close to Martha's Vineyard? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. I'm curious. So there's a reason why, all these rich, influential celebrity types are there. It's like so beautiful. It's incredible. The lighthouses. And I remember I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. My favorite food I ever had was on Martha's Vineyard, which was baked breaded lobster, fresh from the island. And so it has so much history there, but I didn't know how much history and how far back it went and what kind of the history was. So I did some research. Somebody said, yum. Yeah. Some research into the history of Martha's Vineyard. And there's a bay there called Katama Bay. And I wrote a poem about it when I was younger. And so now I had a chance to share all that with Eric and with Charlie Feldman. Again, he's the former vice president of BMI, and he's on the board of directors of the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And so both of them said, oh, this is awesome. Let's make a film. So this is a scene which is like the narration that you'll hear is the narration that will be on the opening scene. The visuals may change a bit, but you're composing to narration. And so I'm not going to say anything more. And I want you to experience this opening narrator scene from Rum Runners of Katama Bay.
Before the Gilded Age cast its long shimmering shadow over Martha Vineyard's summer shores, the island belonged to the rhythms of an ancient tribe known as the Wampanoag and the shifting moods of the Atlantic. In 1889, Katama Bay was more than just a tranquil inlet. It was a sanctuary carved by ancestors who read the tides like scripture and understood that the land was not something to be owned, but to be kept. Yet, as the century drew to a close, the winds began to carry more than just salt air. They brought the encroaching scent of commerce and the lawless ambition of men who saw in these hidden coves not a sacred expanse, but a perfect, silent door for everything the world tried to keep out.
So let's give it up for FGH Productions. That's the opening narrator scene for Rum Runners of Katama Bay. So let me look in the chat there to see what you guys thought about that. Wasn't that narration awesome? I like that. Great. Great narration. Yes. Can you imagine composing to that? And by the way, excellent. It says thumbs up. Thank you. Yes, somebody said I can imagine. Well, that's Lindsay. Lindsay, buy that special right now, 50% off. I want you all to, it's going to help us, just so you know, by the way, also. It's not only am I helping you, but by you purchasing that, you're helping us so that we can then go to the next batch of filmmakers and work with them and bring you more briefs and bring you more services and give you more, like you're also going to get a free library of clips that you can use for your show reel. We can grow that. Like you are like founding members of this. Anyone that's here right now, I consider you a founding member. And I want you to come aboard, get inside the community. And is that you found the other one, Kelly?
Yep, it's up there.
There he is.
Oh,
yeah. With his brand, his hat.
When we had our And I got to show you. It's not
Oh,
just George
yeah.
Washington's head. George is there for a reason, celebrating 250 years.
So tell them about your song that shirt is based on. Come on, we got to promote you too.
Well, I wrote a song years ago that'll be on my new upcoming EP about Abe Lincoln called Honest Abe. And I saw this shirt with Abe Lincoln on it advertised online and ordered it, but I got sent the George Washington version. So what are you going to do?
Okay.
Anyway, back to the moment, the matter at hand here.
Put both of those links in there because I want people to, I think one's $45, the other one's like 60.
Yes, because one of them, the new one, it has 3 briefs. They're both 50% off briefs. So the established price for a brief at present is $30. So we have these 3 new briefs, which would be $90, and we're selling them for $45. So yeah, we have 2 deals here. One is the current deal, which is the 3 newest briefs, half off. The other one is a deal from April with the 4 briefs we had at that point, half off. They're both half off, very affordable, and you'll get.
I just want to say, Kelly, it would normally be $210, and it's half that now. Right now,
Correct.
It's 105.
If you did both of them, right?
Yeah, for both of them.
And when you sign up for them, you will get access to the entire film to download and then pull into your DAW and edit, as well as a PDF that explains a lot of the tools and techniques and process for doing this, as well as where you will then upload the final product. And if you're having any issues, we're here to help support you on that.
And if you're looking at my screen right now, you'll see these are the different briefs that you will be composing to. So there's Rum Runners of Katama Bay, the car crash scene, Arrow, the documentary, She Cries Murder, Investigator in the Market, which you saw from Sally, Susan Mitchell Horse Rescue documentary. That's another moving documentary about horses from Alessandro. Rewired, Golden Children by another founding member filmmaker. And that's Brandon Paglia. And it's another one from his movie. And that's a science fiction movie. That movie is going to be coming out in December. And you'll be scoring and actually submitting your music to a movie for that movie. And then here's another Katama Bay one from us. There's a commercial, coachingbybrook.com. Another one, a sales video. And so this will be growing. You know, we just launched in May, and I've got over 50 filmmakers right now ready to go that are going to be giving us scenes. But you're here on the ground floor. You're here doing this with us together, and I'm learning from you. I'm taking a lot of feedback from all of you as you're doing these, like you heard some of the feedback from Sally. And I really appreciate you taking the time and the effort and putting your dedication into this as a member of a community. Like I'm very lucky. I had mentors, personal friends and mentors in my life. It's like a Forrest Gump movie. I have to pinch myself. Quincy Jones, close friend, mentor, spent many hours at his house with him. Chick Corea, same thing. For those of you who know, he was 50 Grammy nominations, 25 Grammy Awards. He passed away a few years ago, sadly. Phil Ramone, he's the producer who, when Quincy Jones wanted his music produced, guess where he went? Phil Ramone was Quincy Jones' producer, and he produced, oh my God, Paul Simon, Simon and Garfunkel, Barbara Streisand, just icons. He was a mentor of mine. And so Jermaine Jackson, I've been very, very lucky. So if you see a certain spark in me, a certain passion, a certain intensity, I've been infused with wisdom from some icons and incredible people. And the worst sin that I could commit is to keep my mouth shut and not share any of that. So I'm just basically trying to share that inspiration, that wisdom. And here we have something that's revolutionary that no one's doing. You're going to be here from the ground floor, and you're going to be getting feedback from me, and you can kind of take it or leave it. You know, if I say, hey, I suggest that you make a couple of changes before you send it on, you could say, no, thank you, but no thanks. It's okay. And again, I won't hold it against you. I'll send it straight to the filmmaker. But if you like the feedback from me, I mean, my feedback might be, this is perfect. I'm sending it on. That might be my feedback. but I'll give it to you, and then you can either choose to use that feedback or lose that feedback. It's okay. I'm not an expert. I don't consider myself an expert. I just consider myself experienced and successful. And so I look for experienced, successful people. That's who I want to learn from. So I'm trying to be a good teacher. So Kelly, are you able to copy paste now? The whole thing?
Yeah, it's in there already.
Oh, good.
I did it while you were talking.
So here's what I see. I see here's the special from our last webinar, 4 briefs for $60. So if all of you can click on that one and buy it right now.
And right above that is the more recent webinar deal.
Yeah, webinar deal on 3 new You Score the Scene briefs. You can't say no. You can't run away. You can say no and you can run away, but I don't want you to. I want you to jump on board. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's work together. I need your feedback and I want to grow this with you. You can give us, I've taken some advice from some of you who have actually purchased these, and you say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Hey, I have an idea. And there's some great ideas have come up. So, be a part of this growing movement. So now we're going to take some questions. Carrie asked a really good question. What about the copyright so we can share on our YouTube playlists? The answer is no. Now, once this movie comes out, if you're chosen for it, or if the filmmaker gives you approval once the movie is out, yes, you can. But until then, we have to honor, like Ed Cohen said, we're here to service the filmmakers. The filmmakers have their own legal teams working with them. And I'm very fortunate that they're even participating in this. I didn't, like when I first started this out, Carrie, I was like, I don't know if they're going to give us these scenes up because there's all kinds of intellectual property laws that are in place here. If you noticed, Carrie, did you notice that there's a big watermark on every one of these and it says You Score the Scene? That's part of the legal agreement that I came to between us and the filmmakers. So you're allowed to get that scene and then submit it back, but you can't share it on the internet. What you can do, Carrie, because I thought about this, because I'm a composer, when you purchase a scene, you get a library of free clips that you can score to, and you can put them all over the internet. And those are for your show reel. So we've thought of that. And what we want to do is honor these filmmakers in terms of, that's their intellectual property. Now, they have your intellectual property too. So you might ask this, Carrie, how are we protected that the filmmaker won't just go and use it and put it in their film or put it all over their social media? They can't. So both of you are restricted by respecting and trusting each other with your intellectual property. So Carrie, give me a thumbs up if I answered your question, or if you have further question on that, ask it in the chat, just so I know that I've been able to answer your question. Yes, thanks. Trust needed. Okay, great. Now, Paul says, I just want to add the car scene video. I have all the others. Then go in there, Paul, and just buy that one separate. You can buy it separately. Did you see Bruno?
Yeah, it sounds like he's just saying he made the purchase and he looks forward to contributing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's give it up, everybody. Bruno, let's see, what's his last name? It doesn't show up there.
Modolo?
Modolo, if we're saying right. Let's give it up for Bruno. He just purchased today's special. Awesome. He said, yep, Italian. Okay. And let's do this, Kelly, because I'm looking at the clock. Let's let everybody back in that were panelists that are still here, like Alessandro, Ed Cohen. If Joe is still there, Joe Hawk, Sally, if you're still there. I see them all there still. This is great. So I have a tradition here. And while we're doing this, we're going to do closing statements. Kelly, if you can put the sales link there again. Put the 2 sales links there. And I have a tradition, just so you know, Joe. I think Alessandro knows this, Ed knows this. And Sally, if you're Sally, can you come back on? I know you have some technical stuff because you're not at home. So, Joe, we have a tradition, which is closing statements. And so you can say whatever you'd like, just a summary of today, how it went for you and what your thoughts are, feelings. So let's get a closing statement from Mr. Joe Hawk.
Yeah, you know what a famous person once said? They said filmmaking is like an unfinished art project. It's defined to a degree, but always a work in progress. In order to obtain one's attention, abstract colors need to be defined. Who said that? Joe Hawk. That's my quote. Come on, guys. No, seriously, it is.
I was wondering. I was wondering
yeah.
what famous guy you were reading from.
Yeah, so that's really about me. Is so as I'm developing, right, the movie, some things are kind of defined, but not really defined purposely, or and that's really where the music helps, or characters or emotions. But with that, what I want to say is that I love this webinar. A lot of great feedback, a lot of great questions. Just so everyone knows, if you are looking to get involved when the White House is fake, probably in about a week or two, I'll be sending Gary a actual clip from the White House is Fake, episode 5.
Good.
And this is a very dramatic scene about revenge. So it's very powerful. And, for me, I look at many different aspects as far as music, right? For me, one of my favorite shows that does this very well is that if anybody's seen Riverdale, where the scene is very like this, right? It's all dialogue, but then at the end, about 6 to 10 seconds, a big Steiner moment happens, and that music elevates it at the end. So there's going to be a lot of stuff like that in this, but music all over the place, all different styles. So I'm really, really happy that I'm here and aligned with this movement, because it is a movement, and we're all here to help each other, and that's really what matters. So thank you, guys.
Awesome. That's great. Okay, and Sally, because I know it's late over there, so let's give you the opportunity to go next.
Well, I'm really excited to attempt writing the music for it, and obviously not going for a video look this time. Encourage everybody to have a go. I mean, what can you lose? It's not expensive, and great experience. I'm looking forward to it. Very excited.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sally. Let's give it up, everybody, for Sally. Look at that dedication. Okay. Next, Mr. Ed Cohen, the godfather.
Hello there.
You're the godfather of You Score the Scene.
What can I say? I mean, this is a great group of people, incredible creatives on both sides, and I'm just absolutely loving being a part of it. Thank you very much, Gary, for letting me take part in this.
Oh, I mean, I'm telling you, Ed, like literally, this would not be where it is without you. I mean, Alessandra would not be here. Joe would not be here. All these other filmmakers that we've had would not be here. So thank you. Everybody, let's give it up. Give some love for Mr. Ed Cohen. And I didn't say it. I didn't want to skip him, so I want to say it now. Let's give some love and let's give it up for J.D. Hawk, also known as Joe Hawk. Next closing statement goes to Alessandro Andriuli.
I say that vulnerability is your superpower. When you allow yourself to be brutally honest in your work, that's really where the magic happens, and you learn something through that process.
Awesome. Excellent. Let's give it up. Give some love for Alessandro Andriuli. Great. Closing statement from the inimitable Mr. Kelly Walsh.
I just retyped that. Vulnerability is your superpower. There's so much there, and I often forget as an artist that, and how much I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the screwed up childhood I had. Honestly, I mean, I really wouldn't. And remembering that, just that how much that's a part of it, and not being afraid to share, and how much it's an underlying driving force in art. So that was a very unexpected and powerful part of this evening's whole thing. So thank you everyone for everything, and Alessandro for that.
Incredible. Lindsay says, Joe Hawk, thank you. Thank you, Alessandro. Kelly is inspiring. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay.
Great. Yeah. So I'll give the final closing statement here. I mean, what could I say? Could you imagine, any of you, if you were like looking through my eyes right now at this thing, you have this idea one day, you start talking to a few people, then all of a sudden you've interviewed 50 filmmakers, and all of them are going, hey, I'm in. Let's go. And they're like pushing me to do this thing. And here we are, and the dream has come true. And so this is just incredible. It's just incredible for me. Sally, I just especially want to thank you again, because in the UK, but to talk about vulnerability, you've opened yourself up as a person who actually purchased this and tried their hand at it. And you allowed me to share publicly the critique that I gave to you. And you took that with so much grace and as a great student, because I know you're a great teacher too. And I just really appreciate it and hope that I can help instill into you and everyone who purchases these confidence, just more confidence. Could you say, Sally, that by doing this, your confidence has increased?
Yes, I think so, and obviously will grow even more. And yeah, I must say I did feel very vulnerable tonight, with my music playing. But that's what it's all about, and you have to do that. I mean, with clients, I've done some advertising stuff. You have to put your music forward. If you're not sure about it,
Yes.
and then this whole learning process, brilliant, yeah.
Great. No, thank you so much. And I think that's the big thing I'm taking away, which is I didn't realize that this process was going to be so much of a learning experience for me and the people submitting. Like we all learn as we go. And then we're just servicing the filmmaker. That's what we're all about. Like in the words of Ed Cohen. Ed, say your words again.
Our only purpose is to enhance the vision of the director.
There you go. So with those words of wisdom, we're going to end off today. Thank you everyone for being here. Why don't we give some love in the chat before we go so I can see that you guys, almost everybody's still here. This is amazing. Thank you for sticking out. I said to, Kelly and everybody that works with me today, I'm going to keep it to an hour. I'm going to go quick today. I'm going to keep this really short. And I don't know, I'm sorry. It's hard. There's just so much like passion in all this. Look at this. So we're getting, thanks so much for such a great meeting. Thank you. Love it. 5 hand claps. Bruno, thanks for the information and sharing your movie clips to collaborate with. We got a star and a thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating this evening. Smiley face, Petra, thank you, exclamation mark. Okay, so let's give it up for all of us. Let's give it up for team. I want you all to keep creating, never give up, and stay in the community. We're a family and we're helping each other. The rising tide raises all ships. So have a great week and go ahead and purchase those briefs, and I'll be helping you in the back end along with Kelly. Thanks, everybody.
Good night, all.
Bye-bye.